Today we are going to talk about another one of God's creatures. Do you see who's behind me? This is Larry Lion. Say hi, Larry Lion.
Hi, Larry Lion.
We're going to talk about Larry Lion. Look how big he is. He is considered the king of the jungle. He is the king of the jungle. He is the daddy. You know how I know he's the daddy lion? Because he has all of this hair around his neck. God made him so special, Joseph. God made him with all that hair around his neck to protect his neck from other animals trying to bite his neck. And to let people know he is the king of the jungle. That's why God made him so special. God made him that way so that people knew who he was. He has that hair around his head. That way we know that he is the daddy of the lions. So he's pretty special right there. Do you see that he has some whiskers right here? You know what that means? He's a cat. Did you know that? He's a cat. Some of you have a cat at your house. Would you want this kind of cat at your house? No, I wouldn't want this kind of cat. It's fun to watch them. Oh, I've been to the zoo, and it is fun to watch the lions. But you know what? This is not the kind of cat you would want. This is a wild cat. And this kind of cat you would not find at your house. This is the kind of cat you would find where? At the zoo, or we've talked about lions before. Where do we find them? In what continent? In
the jungle.
Well, they are kind of in the jungle. But remember we talked about this place. We'd have to get Africa. We'd have to get in our airplane and we'd have to fly to Africa. And where you would find these lions are in the plains of Africa. That's those dry, flat desert areas of Africa. And do you know what lions like to do? They like to hide in the really tall grass that grows, and that grass that grows there is like brown and tan, and that's why it's like all desert there, because it's not really green, a whole lot of green there. And do you see what color he is? What color is he?
Yeah.
He is, but he's kind of like brown and tan. God made him that way so he could kind of almost be camouflage. You know what that means? Camouflage. You know how like the military wears the camouflage so they can hide? That's what the lion does. He likes to hide in those tall grasses in the plains. And sometimes, if you ever watch them, maybe you've seen it on something before, and you watch them and they're hiding and you can't even tell they're there, except for there's one thing you can see. And it's sticking up and it's going like this. What do you think it is?
It's a tail.
It is. It's his tail. Wouldn't it be funny to get his tail and tickle your face with it? It looks like it would be very ticklish, his tail. And he kind of gets like he's on the prowl. And he's looking for something to eat. And then as soon as he sees what he wants to eat, another animal that he wants to eat, he jumps up and he goes, roar! And he growls. And they know he is ready. And he's going to jump and he's going to run. And he is going to run fast to chase after that animal so that he can eat him. Now, does he eat with a spoon and a fork like we do? No, he doesn't do that. Look right here. Do you see God gave him his paws? He has paws too, but he also gave him some sharp claws. What are those? Claws. They're claws. And you know what? God made him so that he could tear open and eat the meat that he likes to eat. And he's going to tear open that meat, and he's going to eat all that meat up, and he's going to be all so full. And once he eats all his meat, do you know what? He gets lazy. He gets lazy when he's done eating. Once he's finished eating and he's eating that meat, because that's what lions eat. They eat meat. Once he eats and he's finished, he just goes and lays down. He does. And do you know that he could sleep between 14 and 21 hours? That's a long time. That would be like you go home today and you go home and eat supper. And then after supper, you're going to go to sleep. And then you're going to sleep all night long. Then the next morning, you're not going to come to school. You're just going to sleep all day. And then your nighttime comes again and you're going to sleep all night. That would be a long time to go to sleep, wouldn't it be? That's what the lions could do. See, when I go to the zoo, most of the time I don't see lions running around. They can run fast because they have to run fast after their food and eat it. And they pounce on it, and then they eat it all up. But the lion gets lazy after he's done eating. Have you ever eaten like turkey after Thanksgiving meal, and you're eating your turkey and you're eating your pumpkin pie and everything, and then all of a sudden you get so full you just have to go take a nap? That's what he does. He just gets so full he has to go take a nap, but he can sleep a long time. So whenever I go to the zoo, I never see him running around. I think they must eat a lot, because every time I go, they're always just laying around. And their little tail is just, swishing away all the flies away from them. And they're just being lazy and laying there. And every once in a while, they make that big yawn. Roar, and that's it. But I don't ever see them running around. But sometimes it'd be fun to see them doing that, running around at the zoo. But you know what else God did? God gave him an extra little claw on one of his paws. It's almost like a big toothpick. Just in case maybe he'd get some meat stuck in his tooth, then he could dig it out. Isn't that neat? God knew. God knew what to do, because he has those big teeth so that he can eat all that meat. But God knew he would probably get some meat stuck in his tooth. Have you ever got popcorn stuck in your tooth or something? Or candy, and mommy has to help you get it out with some floss or a toothpick? Well, God already knew that the lion was going to need something, so God made the lion have an extra pick, almost like a little nail, an extra claw that he can pick that out. Well, there's more things to learn about this lion. Do you know that when he was a baby, he didn't have all that fur around his neck? No, when he was a baby, he didn't. And he'd have to stay with his mama. And do you know that when he was a baby, he didn't have that big roar? He didn't. He just had a little roar. He just sounded like a little baby. And I'm sure he loved to play with his mama. Maybe they're so fun. They like to climb over their mommy and jump around their mommy and everything. And do you know what? Do you know when you take a bath, what do? You get in the bathtub and mommy puts soap on you and you scrub the soap and rinse all the bubbles off. Do you think a lion takes a bath in a bathtub? No. Do you know that the mommy lion's called a lioness? Say that with me. A lioness. And do you know that the lioness goes out and hunts food sometimes for her whole family, for the pack? And then the daddy, the big lion, he stays with the cubs sometimes, and he waits for them and waits for the mommy, the lioness, to come back. But when the babies are there and the mommy needs to clean them, do you know the mommy uses her big tongue? Her tongue is kind of rough like sandpaper, and she just licks them. Would you want your mommy to lick you before you came to school? No, that would be gross. But that's how God made the lions. So before this, when this big, gigantic king of the jungle was a baby, his mommy used to lick him to get him all clean. But now he's big, so now he can do it himself. Now he can get him all himself clean, all by himself, because he's big. You're big. Pretty soon, you can do it all by yourself. Pretty soon, mommy's going to say, you go get in the shower, you go get in the bath all by yourself. That's what I do. When my boys, they can just go get in the shower by themselves. But, it is so fun to learn about the lions. There's more things that we can learn about the lions that we can learn in another lesson. But isn't it neat how God made him have all that hair? Why did he give him that hair? To protect his what?
Family.
To protect his family, so that they know he is the king of the jungle. And what part of his body is it protecting? His what? The neck. Good job. That's right. And what did God give him an extra what on his paw? His what? Extra claw. Good job, to help dig that meat out. Good. Now, look right here. We have just a minute, and I want to show you something. I want to teach you my song. Are you ready? Look at my song. Let me get my pointer out here. Listen to my song. It goes with our new letter. Larry Lion, L says, oh, 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 oh. Lamp, lamb, and lettuce, ladybug, and lizard. L says, oh, 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 oh. What does L say? Oh, oh, oh. Good. Stand up, see if you can do it with me. Are you ready? Larry Lion, L says, oh, 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 oh. Lamb, lamb, and lettuce, ladybug, and lizard. L says, oh, 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 oh. Great job. You may be seated. Isn't that fun? It is fun to learn about God's creatures. I'm glad that we got to learn about Larry Lion today.